Hi guys, welcome back to B Speed Shop. So in this video I'm going to be welding the MX5 back together, starting with my inner arch panel, which I've drilled all my holes for, all my spot welds down that side as well, and I've also sprayed it with the weldable primer just to give it some protection. So as soon as I get that fitting and clamped into position, then I'll get the welder set up with my other camera so I can get that welded in, and then I've got a few other small patches that I want to get welded in today as well. And then if I got time, I'm going to start on the inner sill section. I'm going to get that trimmed down and fitting in. If I have time to at least tack it in today, I might do that, but if not, I'll come back tomorrow and get that one welded in next. So I've got my inner arch panel section all clamped into place now. I've just got 3 clamps on it for now and a couple of self-tapping screws because the rest of them are in the Mini. So what I'll do is I'll do a couple of spot welds where the clamps are and in between the self-tapping screws, and then once I've done those I can adjust the clamps of the self-tapping screws, so that like down this end I can like clamp here and do another spot weld there. But hopefully once I've got a few in, we'll be on our way to having the car back together. So I've got the welder set up outside now, so I'll start welding this in. So I've got my inner wheel arch panel mostly spot welded in now. There's a couple along the bottom here which I haven't done yet because that will spot weld to the panel that I finished making the other day, and there's just one there that I missed. But I'm quite happy that I've got that panel all welded in now. Obviously the welds don't look very pretty, but a couple of them down here look pretty good actually. They're nice and flat, nice sunk in. Hopefully they've all penetrated quite nicely, so I think what I'll do now is just grind the tops of these off, just get them a bit nicer looking, a bit flat. And then there's a small little repair patch I want to move on to and see if I can get that welded in today, which will fix this bottom edge just here. So I'll weld, hopefully if I have time I can get that welded in. So I've started to grind down some of my spot welds in here, but what I want to do now is quickly move on to my next little patch I've made, which is fits up in there. So I'm going to quickly get it set up and try and get this tacked in today and start welding it in. If I need to, I can finish welding it tomorrow morning. My main aim for tomorrow will be to work on the inner sill section, get that trimmed down. I've got a little bit here to finish trimming off, and then I want to try and get that welded in. So I've started to weld in my little repair patch all the way along and underneath here. I haven't done this bit yet because I need to trim a very small amount off the top of this edge because it's just binding on this piece at the moment. So I'm going to use my Dremel with some small cut-off wheels just to see if I can come in here at 45-degree angle like I've done with some of the mini panels and just grind a little bit of both so that they then sit flat in there against each other. And then I can weld along there, weld up that bit, and probably weld around here as well onto this piece. And then as soon as I get that bit done, I'm going to finish off this bit, but tomorrow I'll come back and make a start on the inner sill section. So I finished welding in my little patch piece I've done now, so I had to come in at an angle with my cut-off wheel on the little Dremel just to clearance that edge along there. I was able to push that in and get it all welded in all around there and around here as well. So I've just painted it with some rust protection stuff for now, so I have to wait a little while for that to dry before I can spray on some weldable primer. So I've been working on my inner sill repair section for my MX5. What I did is I trimmed off this section up here. So what I'm going to do is basically stitch weld it all the way along this edge up to there. That part, that doesn't actually weld to anything, that's just sort of where the panel ends. And I've drilled my holes for all my spot welds along those three edges. So I've sprayed it with some welding primer, so I'm just going to give that a few more minutes just to fully cure. And then once it is, I can get it clamped in. So along this edge where that inner arch section is, I can clamp it along there. I can also clamp a section along here, that's where that seam is, so I can clamp that bit there. And then to make sure that there's no gap between the inner panel and this panel here where these spot welds are, I can use my self-tapping screws, the same on that edge there as well, just to make sure it's nice and tight and there's no gap. And then I'll probably start by doing a couple of the spot welds, and then I can come along and do a few spot welds along the seam, and then just slowly fill in the weld, like do one there, just work around a small section at a time so it doesn't heat the panel up too much and distort it. So I've got my piece clamped on that end now. I've got one self-tapping screw in there, and I've done a couple underneath. So I'm just about to get the welder set up, and I'll use my other little camera just to do a bit of recording of getting this all at least tacked in, doing a few of the spot welds as well. So I've got my inner sill repair section all welded in now. I've done all the spot welds around this edge, all the spot welds underneath, 3 spot welds there, and then I've stitch welded it all the way around that edge. So you can see this edge here is where this panel ended. I think the factory one may have been slightly taller because that bit there sticks up a bit higher, but it doesn't matter as long as it's in there. It's nice and strong. All the welds got really good penetration. I'm really happy with how it's gone today. Obviously it's a little bit tricky trying to do plug welds from underneath, but I managed to get all those done. I managed to seal up that cut edge in there, so I'm quite happy about that. So I'm back today working on this panel that I made up the other day, trying to get this welded in next. So as you can probably see, I've cut this piece off where I did that radius edge. So what I found when I put this piece up was that this edge was sticking too far out and it wasn't lining up with this edge along here. So what I've done is I've cut a small strip out from in between, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I get this one tacked in on a couple of these spot welds, and probably do one up here and this one over here as well, so that I know that this is in the right place, and then I can come and start tacking that piece in to get that in the right place. And then I just got to finish welding up those seams all the way around this piece. Unfortunately I wasn't able to get this little task finished this week, so I've got a little bit of welding to finish off on the underneath side, and then I can move on to the outer sill and rear wheel arch section. So I'm going to come back to this next weekend and try and finish off the welding underneath, and if I've got time I'll make a start on the outer section. If not, I'll have to do that the following weekend after that, so I can do it all in one go. And then it's just a case of doing some body work and painting it to blend it in. Unfortunately my crates that I've borrowed, they've got to go back to who I borrowed them from. I'm really grateful that they've lent me the crates. They're really useful, getting the car up high enough so that I can work on that section. So I will be leaving this video here for now, and thanks for watching.